Welcome to Swala Nyeti, the law podcast that pairs a layman and a lawyer to answer your legal questions of the day. Swala Nyeti is sponsored by the law firm of Kigwata and Company Advocates and is intended for educational purposes only.
Welcome to episode 33 of Swala Nyeti. I am the lawyer, aka Wakili Harry Karanja.
And I am the layman, Gashao Patrick.
Good morning, Mr. Gashao.
Wakili, I have a game for you. Are you ready?
At your game?
Yes.
Why are we playing games? We're here to discuss legal questions.
Here is the game. I'm going to tell you two truths and a lie.
Uh-huh.
And you're going to find out, you are going to tell me what the lie is.
Okay.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
1, I have ridden a bicycle from Nairobi to Nakuru.
Okay.
2, I own a pet dog.
Okay.
3, I have been arrested in town for not wearing a mask.
So number 3 is of course true. And I know you ride bike, so the pet dog must be the lie.
Yeah, the pet dog is a lie.
Oh, good. You see, I know you, Gashao. And how do you get arrested for not wearing a mask?
Man, they just grabbed me. They put on handcuffs. We started walking in town. Have you seen guys walking in town with handcuffs?
And by that time, do they give you a mask?
So if you buy one, they let you go and they arrest another one. You are just being collected. In, out, you come.
So you got released as you were walking towards
Now,
the police station, or what happened?
no, you just take strolls in town with the policemen.
Yeah.
We were many guys.
So you accompanying them.
Yeah, they handcuff you.
And
One hand. And then they handcuff another person on the other hand. You can't run away.
I
You are
can't
two
believe
strangers.
after all these podcasts, you can still get arrested for the most basic of. Oh my goodness. Anyway, I'm hoping that not only will you help in co-host this podcast, you also listen to them.
I'll try. I just want to let you know that if you ever see a person in town handcuffed, don't judge them. That could be you next time.
Okay. So let's make sure then that anyone listening at least does not get into problems in thought. And what's our question for today?
We have a question from Angela. Can I stop my neighbors from having noisy parties? She says, I am a grandmother taking care of my 7-month-old grandson whose mother is working out of the country. I recently moved into her flat, which is in a gated community in Nairobi. My issue is that there are neighbors who have been causing me sleepless nights since COVID lockdown started. These young men and women partied late into the night. Last week they started partying outside. They were roasting nyama choma, playing loud music and smoking marijuana. The noise meant that my grandson could not sleep, and now he isn't feeding well because of stress. Last night I went and asked them to stop, but they claimed they were acting to protect the houses from thieves who had been stealing things from the estate. Their music was to turn the thieves away, and the roasting was to keep them awake, fed and warm. I have asked the landlord, but he is in agreement with them. The estate management, on the other hand, has ignored me. Can the court help me?
All right, so let me see if I understand here what's going on. Angela moved in recently to her daughter's flat, where she lives with her 7-month-old grandson. And in this estate, she found that there's some neighbors who party a lot and recently even started having these parties outside. She claims that it causes a lot of noise, and she says they are also smoking illegal substances, as well as claiming that they are doing this for security purposes.
Yeah.
And she's tried to speak to everybody, and it seems both the landlord, the estate management, and the estate management have turned her away. So she wants to know whether she can get any recourse in court.
Yeah, poor Shosho with a 7-month-old grandson. And let me tell you, this thing about house parties has really come up. They have become rampant after the lockdown. And I don't know, it's like they don't observe curfew and they can be a nuisance in an estate for sure. So I don't know what remedy the Shosho has.
Okay, so the good news is that there might be a remedy.
Unfortunately for Shosho, Kenyan courts, or maybe then courts worldwide, like in Wakili, can confirm. These cases can take like 3 years. The boy will be in nursery school when the parties stop, and he'll have smoked this marijuana that is coming up there. What can she immediately do to stop all this?
Okay, so the good news is that there is something that she can do even before the full case is decided.
Mm-hmm.
So courts will allow someone to apply for a temporary injunction,
Okay.
which can be determined before a full case is decided. And of course, in this case, what really the grandmother Angela
Yeah.
will be going for is nuisance, the tort of nuisance.
Okay. And
So-
she can get, just to cut you short, she can get granted an injunction that can stop the parties at least.
Yes, until the case is determined.
Okay.
But it's not that straightforward.
Oops.
So if you want to get a temporary injunction, there are 3 things that you must meet.
There we go. 3 things. I have my pen, Wakili. Start.
Okay, so today I'm going to give you some Latin. You know, I remember you said you
yeah.
like Latin.
Bring it.
So the first thing is that you must prove a prima facie case.
1. Prima means like the first. Vasi, I don't know.
So
Primary case, I don't know.
So a prima facie or prima facie case would essentially be that on the face of it, you must show that this nuisance exists.
Okay.
It can't just be an arguable case. I mean, you must show that it's more likely than not that there is nuisance. So straight away, this grandmother Angela would have to prove, at least would have to show bring some strong evidence to show that there is nuisance.
Okay.
And when it comes to nuisance,
You want to subcategorize.
we're going to subcategorize.
Aye, Wakili, man.
See, at the end of the day, what we're discussing is a civil wrong.
Okay.
So we said you want to get a temporary injunction, but to go to court and get a temporary injunction, you must show that the civil wrong exists. You must give a prima facie case.
And
to
this
show.
has another sub.
Exactly.
which
So
is-
so there are 3 things again
again,
that usually considered.
are you sure Shosho will be able to follow up all these things?
Well, she can rewind. So first, remember that nuisance is what we call an intentional tort.
Yes.
Okay, so it is a tort where you are taking some action.
Yes.
And the first thing which has to be established, which is common in tort in general, is that there must be fault on the part of the people she is claiming against.
That is the first of the 3 sub.
The first of the 3 things.
Okay.
Okay, so fault here means that they must have taken some intentional action
Ah, yeah. We are
that
playing music.
caused this civil wrong.
Wakili, do you even remember that case for the former first lady? Where
fo-
she stopped a party.
Yes,
Yeah.
her neighbors
Yes.
were having a party.
This is I think the Shosho has the same issue.
Yeah,
No,
but-
you just go with the scissors and cut the cables.
So we'll talk a bit about that.
Okay.
But if fault is established, you still need to show that this music caused substantial interference to the grandmother's enjoyment of her property. Because at the end of the day, nuisance is an intentional tort or is a wrong against the enjoyment and use of your property. So here what we really need to look at is, was this music annoying? Was it
Noisy.
interfering with her use and enjoyment of the property? Or was it actually pollution in terms of noise? Was it meeting the threshold of noise pollution?
So is it okay that if they were playing music she loves, noise loudly,
Mm-hmm.
it's okay? There's no need for her to. There's no substantial interference.
It's all about whether it was interfering with her use and enjoyment of the property. So if she is enjoying it, really,
Wow.
there's no interference there.
What if 10 people out of 11 are enjoying the music? What does the Shosho do if she's the 11th person?
So there are 2 types of nuisance. There's private nuisance and there's public nuisance. Now, in this instance, we are looking at private nuisance. But if she approached the court under public nuisance, then that is what is called a statutory tort. She would look at the provisions of the Environmental and Land Management Act, which also prevent noise pollution. So that's a possible angle for her to take. But in this case, since she's the only one who's brought it up, we want to restrict ourselves to discussing private nuisance. Okay, so I told you one, there must be fault, which is
Yes,
intentional.
intentional.
The second one is that there must be substantial
Interference.
interference. And then you have to look at the reasonableness of the conduct of this person who is being accused of noisy parties or this group of people. And here, you mentioned the case of former First Lady, the late Lucy Kibaki.
Yeah.
And I said I would come back to it later because one of the things that you look at to establish reasonableness is the locality of the place. Now, if she is in a place whereby regularly they play loud music, I mean, and you see she's the one who moved into there.
Yeah.
So maybe her daughter has been
It's part of the
happy.
party.
Her daughter could have been very happy with those kind of neighbors.
Yeah, maybe the daughter would have been downstairs with nyama choma also.
You never know. So if the place that she moved into was already accustomed to such kind of music, then it's hard to claim that these party goers were being unreasonable. Okay.
Yeah, because I have stayed in a place where there was a church or many churches. They used to have kesha. Do you know kesha?
Yes.
Wow. They're louder than clubs. And then I thought maybe you could go and stop them. So it seems I was one in the wrong neighborhood.
It depends. If you moved there and you found them like that,
I found them like that.
yeah, then I mean their conduct could be reasonable.
What?
Okay. And of course the other thing is the duration and the frequency.
Every Friday, Wakili, there was kesha.
So assuming that the locality, I mean, is not an issue.
Kila, you saying that I was living in an informal settlement?
Your words, not mine. But listen, Lucy Kibaki's issue was that people could not play that kind of music in the estate where she lived. In fact, her words were, "This is not Korogosho," meaning that in this neighborhood, we do not play
Such
loud music
Yeah.
throughout the night.
And the reggae. You
So
don't want
that-
reggae here. Kama si Mogithi.
So that was her inference. So you see, her reasonableness of the person who is being accused of nuisance will come into play as you consider the locality of the place.
Okay.
And if these three things are present, you can prove that yes, there was an intentional fault.
Okay.
Yes,
One of many, prima facie.
there was a substantial interference in the use and enjoyment of your property. It was not just an annoyance. And that the conduct of these people was unreasonable because of either the duration and frequency of how they would play the music or the locality where
Yeah.
you were did not have that kind of music in place. Then it's likely that you can prove a prima facie case.
Yeah, because also she had mentioned it started after COVID lockdown. So she might have a case.
She might, if she can show that there's a prima facie case, and now we go back to the temporary injunction,
Yes.
the requirements. So if she has shown that she has a prima facie case,
Yes.
and that there is irreparable injury that she might suffer because of this.
That is the second one. What does that mean? Irreparable injury?
What you said about the son
Irreparable. Yes.
growing up.
Grandson.
Yes, the grandson growing up.
Among the fumes of marijuana.
Yes, that could show irreparable. I mean, injury which cannot be compensated by money.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah,
and
he's not feeding well. He's not sleeping well. There
yes,
are many issues. Okay.
and of course, the courts will look at on a balance of convenience. So who will be more inconvenienced if this injunction is put in place or if it's not put in place? Okay,
Okay.
so they will balance the interests of the two parties.
So
Okay,
she
and
might have to talk about the grandson.
she
this.
definitely has to bring up the issue
She
of the
cannot say
grandson.
that she's the one who is having issues with the noise only.
But whatever she has sent in says that it's both her and her grandson.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, then she might be able to get a temporary injunction
And the third one?
stopping. I think we
sorry.
said all three.
No, I am at 2. Wakili, prima facie, irreparable injury.
And on a balance of convenience.
Oh, I thought balance of convenience was a number injury. Balance
So
of convenience.
if she can show those three things, then it's possible for her to get a temporary injunction.
So, Angela, I think the three things Wakili has mentioned favor you. There's a prima facie case, there's irreparable injury, and the balance of convenience is in your favor. It's clearly because of your grandson. So I think you should go and look for an injunction. And you should be good forever, Angela.
Well, Gashao, remember I said this is a temporary injunction. And once it goes, and even if Angela is able to secure a temporary injunction, it does not mean that the final orders would also be in her favor. And remember, the other party can also defend themselves against the tort of nuisance.
When they are smoking marijuana.
This claim of smoking marijuana has not been proved. It's a claim that Angela has made, and it would be a bad fact against them if it went to court, but it would have to be proved in court. And further, they claimed that they were doing this for the security of the property. And whereas it might be a stretch, one of the defenses that you can make in an action for an intentional tort is a defense of property.
But have you ever seen watchmen eating nyama choma, Wakili?
So
every Friday.
Well, I mean, look, if they can go and claim that this is actually not nuisance, they have permission from the estate management and also security to conduct these night vigils, which are assisting in the defense of the property. They might have a claim. I have not seen it happen before, but like I told you, tort is an evolving law.
Yeah.
And it's based on common law, so they can make this defense.
They can't say, yani they live in a gated community and they are providing security. What is the wall for in the gated community?
I don't want to make any assumptions about which part of Nairobi they're living in.
These are very rich watchmen.
But I will say that in a tort of nuisance, it's important to prove those three things that I mentioned, that there is intentional tort, there is substantial interference, and that the conduct of the person who is committing the alleged tort is unreasonable. And if these are proved, then it's possible for a person to get a temporary injunction.
Then Wakili, there's nothing that can stop reggae. We have the injunction.
An injunction can stop reggae.
Oh yeah, maybe.
The temporary injunction.
Yeah. Yeah, come to think of it. Therefore, Angela, there you have it. You have a few things that are in your favor, but remember also that you have a prima facie case, you can prove irreparable injuries, and the balance of convenience might be in your favor. All the same, they also have a way of defending themselves, so all I can tell you is all the best, and all I can say is that I hope you get to stop reggae. Anyway, that's it from us at Swala Nyeti. Join us tomorrow for the next question. So the question for tomorrow is it illegal to have a former employee arrested if the police don't find enough evidence? If you want to know the answer to that question, join us tomorrow. And from me, goodbye.
Goodbye.
You have been listening to Swala Nyeti. Special thanks to our layman, Gashao Patrick, and our lawyer, Harry Karanja. If you have a legal question that you want answered, send us a WhatsApp message on 0708 111 222 or email us at admin@swalanyeti.org. You can find downloads to all our podcast episodes on our website www.swalanyeti.org.